welcome to my channel all about Jisu. My name is Jisu, and when I was thinking about creating this channel, one of the things that I wanted to do was basically just kind of talk about myself, and I talk about my different identities that I have and my experience that I wanted to talk about. I'm sure a lot of you guys can also relate to some of the things that I'm talking about and not. So I think I'm going to be titling this the I series. I don't know. I am not really creative at all, so I'll just basically my titles are gonna be very, I guess, blunt, because I don't know how to title them. But so for today's video, I think I'm going to go ahead and discuss my identity growing up as 1.5 immigrant, and also a Korean immigrant at that. So if you guys don't know, 1.5 generation of immigrant are those people who have immigrated to another country when they were under the age of 13, basically before they were teenagers. Some scholars I see argue that they believe that 1.5 generations are even younger than that, but maybe before the age of 10 or something. So I immigrated to US in 2004 when I was 10 years old. I was 9, 10, 10, yeah, so I was 9, 10 years old, and that was when I was in 4th grade. So my experience, and also another thing, I'll probably do a separate video talking about this, but I'm also undocumented, so that means that I have came here without green card or citizenship. My family, we all just kind of came here and we just kind of overstayed our visa. I'll talk about that more in separate videos and stuff, but so that's how I came here. So I came here during the middle of my 4th grade, because I don't know if you are aware, but in Korea, the school session starts in March. So unlike here, when it starts in September, so I March to basically summertime was March to July, I think, was the first semester, and I've completed the first semester of 4th grade, and I immigrated to here. But when I was enrolling in school, so technically I was born in 1994, and they said that technically I was supposed to go to 5th grade if we go according to my age. But since I didn't know any English at all, I just knew ABCs and that was it. So since I didn't even know any English, the school administrators recommended that I go a grade below. So that is how that is why I ended up repeating the half of the 4th grade. And I think now they don't allow you to do that in public schools anymore, but I'm not sure. So that was back in 2004, and being a Korean American, I didn't really feel different because I was Asian or Korean or anything like that, because my experience is quite unique, I would say, just because of where I lived. So I basically after I immigrated to US, first couple of days I stayed at my great aunt's house, which was in Long Island, but that was before we enrolled in school or anything, and we literally had nothing to do in that house. So it's Long Island, we can't go out and just play because there's nothing there, and also we were just stuck at the house, just getting to know the house and stuff. And then a couple of days after that, we finally moved to our own place, which was in Queens. Queens is a very unique place, even in the United States, because it is the most diverse county that you're gonna find. even within the New York City, which a lot of people would say like is very diverse, but within the New York City, like there are still like groups of like ethnic groups like that are at like some one place and like whatever. But Queens, out of that, like the borough of Queens is very very diverse, and where I grew up was very it was like very Asian heavy and also very Latinx heavy community. So I think like so that's why I never like really felt like different. But in turns that led me that like whenever I went to the city or like Manhattan, what like people normally think of as like New York City, uh, and when I see like white people, it felt so different. And also like the black people also felt different too, because like the people, mainly the people of like color, like the people of like darker color in my neighborhood were like Latinx people, and then there's isn't that much like black people like compared to like my neighborhood, and there barely is any like white people in the neighborhood too. Um, but I feel like the census might be a little skewed. Um, on this, just because like a lot of like I guess like Asian people don't fill out the census or something like that. Because I, for one of my school class in college, I did a research on like my neighborhood and then like the statistics and stuff, and it showed that like almost like 95% of the people in my neighborhood, like according to my zip code, were white, elderly, and I'm like, I don't see white elderly people like in my neighborhood, so that's kind of weird. How that came about to be, but yeah. So my experiences growing up like Korean wasn't like that. I would say like it didn't feel like I didn't belong just because of like the dynamic of my community, but so I was like kind of like surprised when I got like older, and then when I was like talking to people like who grew up in like different places and are Asian, and then their experience was like so different for like saying, they experience like racism or like things like they were like bullied for being like Asian. Now I'm like never had that experience. It's so weird, but yeah. So like that was my experience. Like that's like as far as like the idea of like the different like. So that was kind of like my life like growing up. But I feel like the fact that I was an immigrant kind of like had like a common experience with like Korean Americans like growing up here, or like just any immigrants kind of like growing up here. So actually that was like a really long ramble. I think like, and then a while before I was like going to do this video, I was like searching up this like growing up like Asian kind of thing on YouTube, and I saw that there was a tag that I was not aware of. Obviously, like I'm not tagged into it or anything, so I think like I was just gonna go and answer those questions. But I briefly wanted to just say that like my experience growing up like Korean American was quite different from what other people might have experienced within the United States, because of where I was like living, and my community is very different than like what the other people might have experienced. So I just wanted to like say that before I get into the questions. Sorry that was like such a long intro. So the first question, ethnicity are you? I'm Korean. So second question is, which generation are you? So I'm 1.5 generation immigrant. Number 3 is, what is the first experience that you felt that you were different or a minority? The first time when I felt like I was different, or I was like an actual minority, the answer like for me, I feel like I never had like one instance or something where I felt like I was like different, because I never had like that kind of like blunt racism like thrown at me, I would say. Even like if that did happen, that was kind of like when I was like in college or something, and like where I was just like pushing it off and being like what a weirdo or something like that. But I think like I realized like that like I'm kind of like a minority when I realized like just that like I feel more comfortable in my like space like along with like Korean or like Asians. I think like there is just that like comfort of being like within your own like community. I think like this is also because like I have like grown up and lived in the community where it is very like Asian heavy. Four is, were you always proud of your heritage or did you reject your heritage? So I would say that I was always kind of like proud of being Korean American. That's probably because I did grow up like that's probably because I just came here when I was like 10 years old. So I feel like that's an age where like it's not like you. I came here like when I was in like kindergarten, and I don't like I have like no retain like I didn't retain any of like Korean culture or anything. Like I came here, and I did go to like Korean elementary school for a little bit. And I did grow up in like a Korean household, speaking Korean, still reading and like writing and like Korean like books and Korean media and stuff like that. And also within just my community, once again, since it was such a like a Asian like heavy like community, like there were like people like who were like me, like who were Korean or like who were even like like Chinese Americans or something, but like who had like similar experiences as I did, where they came here when they were kind of like a little, but they came here like when they were in like elementary school or whatever, and so I think like I was like there was like no reason for me to like not be proud of my heritage. Yeah, so I was like always proud of being Korean. I feel like this also has a little to do with my undocumented like experience, but also I felt like I was like Korean American. That like even if like I actually became American, like getting like all the papers and stuff, that I'm not gonna be like American Korean. Because first, I don't feel like I would. Like, I feel like I identify like more as like Korean American rather than American Korean. Because I mean I like Korea like being Korean was like the first national like listic idea that I had in my mind. Like growing up and like even being in like Korean household and like even while I was like in New York, and I think there's like nothing wrong with that, and also I think like a lot of factor where I feel like I'm never gonna feel like American Korean no matter what my citizenship status is because like no matter how much I say I am American Korean or I am American, people are never gonna see me as American first. They're always gonna see me as like Korean American or like Asian American. You know that like well-known like thing where like when I say like where like people ask you like where are you from, and then if you're like oh well I'm from New York, and then they would say oh where are you from like really. Like I feel like that is such a like good example that like other people, no matter like how hard I try or like what kind of like citizenship that I have, that they're not gonna see me as like as American. I think like that is like one of the main like factor why like I kind of like identify and celebrate my like Korean like culture and embrace it and kind of like put that like first rather than like being an American. Number 5 is, how has being Asian American affected your relationship with your parent? Well, I feel like being like Asian or like being Korean, like obviously like we have like cultural like differences than like what you would see in like a traditional American like culture, which is what I guess like I would know from like watching TVs and stuff. So I don't know like how accurate that is, but you know there is that idea of like that like idea of like respecting your elders and like blah 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 and whatever. But I feel like my parents were not like as strict as like you would expect like an Asian parents to be. Like we never like got into trouble or anything just because our grade was bad or anything like that. Yeah, so I feel like that is kind of like different. Like your experience on that might be different, kind of like based on your own family and their like parenting values and techniques, I guess. But I do feel like because I'm an immigrant, there was that experience where like it kind of like has like a different dynamic. Because obviously, like when I'm speaking like Korean at home and stuff, when I'm home, like parents can have more like authority in the house because they're your parents and they can like kind of like tell you like what to do and stuff, and they can set the rule. But the thing is, because they don't speak English, it's kind of like I feel like it's difficult for them to like assert their like authority on certain things, like when they want you to like read the mail and stuff. But I can always be like, wow, like too bad you don't speak English. Like when I will be like fighting with my parents or something, then I'm not gonna read it for them. Then my parents would always be like, oh, you ungrateful, like blah blah blah, like whatever. And I think like kind of brings like a different dynamic because obviously like knowing English lets you access and gain more knowledge of different things, and like where I could also kind of like use that like to my advantage and like kind of like talk back to my parents or something. And then, but then I would feel bad for kind of like disrespecting my parents. Yeah. So I think like one of the like kind of like funny moment that I now think of is like my parents, although they haven't been to like all of my parent teacher conference or something. After my 4th and 5th grade, I moved to like a new neighborhood. It was still within Queens, but it was like a new neighborhood, and basically like I made like new friends and stuff during 6th grade. And I remember my dad came to my parent teacher conference thing. The first parent teacher conference since like we moved, and the thing is like my dad doesn't speak English, and I don't know why they thought this was a good idea, but he decided to take me as the translator. And I remember him asking my 6th grade teacher if I had friends. I remember like saying that to my teacher very awkwardly because my dad asked, and then obviously like my teacher was like, yeah, you have friends. And like I just remember that, and like that being kind of like an awkward experience for me. Next question is, can you speak your language? I mentioned this like before. I speak Korean pretty fluently. I read, write, and I can also speak it. I think I attribute that because like obviously I had to speak Korean at home, but also like because I was like still interested in like reading like Korean books and also like kind of like consuming like Korean media and stuff, like media news, like the 13 stuff like that. Yeah. 7. How do you feel about your heritage and do you identify with it? Yes. Like I said, I never rejected my Korean heritage, and I'm actually like very proud to be Korean. And yeah, I do identify as like Korean American, I guess. The last question is, what is your favorite thing about being Asian American or your heritage? So I saw that Jenim mentioned this too, but I think like this is like really what I believe too, is that like the resilience of like Koreans is like really. If you look at Korean history, we were never like the big player. We were never like the most powerful country in like the world or like even the region or anything. We always had like China and like Japan kind of like attacking us and stuff. And if you look at Korea traditionally, like throughout the history, I believe that there has never been a time where Korea has attacked like another country first. They always play the defensive role, which I find it kind of like a bit stupid. We always played defensive role, and we were always like in between, like whatever. And even just like geography wise, if you look at it, like we are like right in between of like China and Japan. So I would understand I understand why it is such a like strategically like a place that you want. Like throughout the history, we went through like so many wars and so many like battles and invasions, and we have like a lot of like economic like up and down. Like obviously, like in the 60s during the Korean War, like we were living very like devastating lives, and like even in the 70s and 80s, like it was such a like we were like one of the like more poor countries, and now we have like grown so fast in such a short time. I am so proud of like our resilience. Also, I'm proud that we are able to come together. Koreans are able to come together when it's necessary. Like during the IMF, the economic crisis in Korea in early 2000s, things were able to come together and basically just like donate their like gold and other like gold to the government so that the government can like rebuild itself again. And the fact that the Korean people were able to like get together and do a peaceful demonstration like a couple of years ago to make sure that we oust our corrupted government, Park Geun-hye. And I think like right now the fact that we are able to like come together and boycott Japan during this time of a trade war with Japan, I think that is like pretty significant. The fact that we are able to fight back such a country like Japan, who has played like the major like who was like and is like still like one of the like major player in the world, and that we are able to like stand up to them and like fight back. That like we're like, no, this is not right. What you're doing is wrong, and these are the reasons why we're not able to like we're not gonna support you and support your government's policy anymore. And I think like I think that is just like so amazing to see our people's like to see like my people's like, action. So that's the end of this video, and I hope this isn't gonna be too long because I rambled on for quite a bit. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please feel free to let me know what your experiences were growing up, whether it was like you were Asian American, you were growing up black, you were growing up Latin American, or even if you were just like, oh, I'm American. Feel free to share your view and what that means to you. Please give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it or like learned something on me from there and from the video. And please subscribe if you want to see more video of me like talking about my identity. And please let me know what you want me to address like next. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye!